Hello, happy, what is today, Wednesday evening? First, I want to say thank you to everyone that has been sending me messages or commenting on my posts or just sending me text messages or asking questions. I really appreciate all your feedback from my videos, so thank you so much for those of you that are showing up and checking these out. So today I want to chat a little bit about a dessert or snack that should make you feel great, and that's because of its high content of omega-3s. Now, omega-3s are probably something you've heard about. A good source of omega-3s are usually in fish, but this is a plant-based source of omega-3s. So omega-3s are known for their anti-inflammatory properties, and inflammation is kind of the root of most disease. So if you think of itis, that means inflammation. That is at the end of many diseases, right? So without going into that too much, we know that inflammation is the root of disease. Now, maybe you caught on that earlier this week I was mentioning that my husband and I are doing a purposely or a very intentional anti-inflammatory diet, and so I'm making this kind of as a treat for us. Okay? So what we're going to do is just take a couple ingredients, mix those together, and we'll be done. So that's it. We're making chia seed pudding today. So someday we'll get a tripod where I won't have to move you back and forth. So I made some chia seed pudding earlier today. And the thing with chia seeds is that they are little guys like this. And when you put them in any kind of liquid, they really gel up. Okay? So all you have to do is add these seeds to some kind of liquid and it'll make kind of a pudding consistency. So this is some chia seed pudding I made earlier today because it does take a little bit of time to gel up. So what you do first is the ratio is pretty much a half a cup to 2 cups of liquid. But if you do the full half a cup, it might be a little thick, so you might want to cut that down. So I'm going to do actually like a third of a cup to try to get a little bit closer. And I'm just going to measure in a measuring cup. So I'm using coconut milk, or you could use almond milk. Now I said 2 ingredients, and I do mean that. So you can use chia seeds in just the milk. You can also add a little vanilla extract if you like. This is coconut milk and it should be shaken. You can use vanilla extract and add that. And then depending on your preference, you could add some kind of sweetener. I used a little bit of stevia today. The thing about stevia, we'll come back to stevia. So I'm going to just do a third of a cup of chia seeds and add it to that. And you stir this up, preferably with a whisk, which is not handy to me, so we're just going to use this spoon. And after you stir it up once, you kind of let it sit for a few minutes. You stir it up again, and then you just pop it in the fridge for a few hours. So it's really fast prep. Obviously, it takes no time at all to prep it. It has really quick assembly. That's the advantage. The caveat is that you have to give it a little bit of time to do its magic. So, but good things come to those who wait, right? So we got to wait for it to gel. So we can set this aside. So this was just plain chia seed pudding that I made today with coconut milk and chia seeds, and I went with a little bit lower amount of chia seeds just because this is so thick, okay? If it is thick, no big deal. You can always just add a little more coconut milk at time of serving and call it a day. So my preferred sweeteners in my kitchen are pure maple syrup. I mentioned before it has good antioxidant properties and there's some good minerals in there, whereas sugar just doesn't really give you a lot of benefit. And I think your body metabolizes a little bit differently. It's a different conversation for a different day. Or these Sweet Life drops from stevia. The thing about stevia is that it's like 200 times sweeter than sugar. So I was kind of not paying attention today and put, like 4 half dropperfuls in here. And it was way too sweet. I actually had to come back and add more pudding and more chia. So after this sits for a little bit, you just give it another stir, ideally 5 minutes, another stir, just to kind of let it start to gel, and then you just kind of want to mix it for making it a little more homogeneous, and then you just cover it, put it in the fridge. That's all you have to do. So that's just plain chia seed pudding. So sweetener if you like, or if you're using a sweetened milk, you might not need that. You can always add it on the back end too. You don't need to do that right away. So chia seed pudding, okay? But let's talk about a couple variations because although it's just great by itself, you might like a couple little variations. So one I just tried was adding a little cinnamon and some almond extract, which you might have if you're making my granola, and some pecans, and that was okay. This one is really good. This one was like a peanut butter and jelly type, and the thing I'm missing from this is you can just use regular jam and some nut butter, and then maybe put some fruit on it or whatever to make it pretty. But I had a friend ask me today about using some rhubarb, and she wanted a rhubarb recipe that didn't require so much sugar, so I thought, well, you could easily make a little jam or compote. Compote, I'm just trying to be fancy here. Compote is like you could take fruit, cut it up, put it on the stove, heat it down, add some water, and kind of do a little puree or kind of mash it, and it would work for a jam. I took some cherries and just blended them because that's kind of what I had and went with that. But you can totally go with peanut butter and jam. So this is my peanut butter and jelly dessert. It is super great for me. Just 3 tablespoons of chia seeds has the same amount of protein as an egg. So although we give chia a lot of credit for its omega-3 properties, which are anti-inflammatory, it also packs a great punch of plant-based protein. So what else? What are you thinking, Elena, Michelle? Any thoughts? I think that's almost all I wanted to show you guys today. Hi, Andy. How are you? So chia seed pudding, 2 cups of coconut or almond milk or whatever kind of milk you like, and then about a half a cup of chia seeds, but I would undercut it by a little bit under the half a cup so it's not so thick and so dense. Great by itself. A little bit of vanilla extract works, a little bit of stevia works if you want. You don't have to do that. A little bit of maple syrup if you want, or you can just top it at the end with some fruit or whatever. So really great. You could make that tonight and eat it for breakfast. It's a good option. Really good stuff for you if you're looking for a different use of your chia seeds. What about for chocolate lovers? Yeah, there's a lot of recipes out there. You can use like a cocoa powder. When you mix it up, when you do this concoction, I would do a cocoa powder right then. Or you could, let's see, what else could you do? I would do cocoa powder right then, and maybe some peanut butter because those 2 things work awesome together, right? I'll think about that a little bit more, or I'll post another recipe. Cool? So what else do we want to talk about? So chia seeds. Yeah, you can actually just stick them in your water too if you're okay with that texture. Oh, I meant we did use whole chia seeds, but you can actually grind them if you're concerned about the texture. I just happen to love that gelled up texture, so I don't grind them. But you can grind them. I just haven't done it that way. What else? So kids like it. That's good. Also, because of its high fat content, fat can, if you leave something like this on your shelf in your pantry forever, it can go rancid, just like nuts do. So for optimal freshness, I pour it in some kind of jar and put it in my fridge, and then I buy it by the big bags, and then I keep those kind of in a deep freeze. But if you keep it in the deep freeze, out of sight, out of mind, you won't use it. So that's why I keep some in the fridge. So just some thoughts to try to get you to use it more often. Now, I showed you guys how to make granola earlier. Totally put granola. You can totally put chia seeds in granola. Just sprinkle them in with any type of thing, any kind of smoothie or whatever. They're good stuff. But this is kind of just a easy recipe where they're all mixed together. So I hope you enjoyed that. Comment below to tell me if you think you might try it or if you would like any other renditions.